Welcome back. We're moving on to talk about another tool in capital investment analysis, and that tool is Payback, which is an awesome title for a tool. It sounds like an action movie, doesn't it? This action movie theme has a signal, the payback method, and we need to understand exactly what that signal is before we get into calculations around payback method. We're going to do calculations with both even and uneven cash flows. The uneven cash flows, of course, are where things always get a little more interesting. There's a lot of debate about the quality of this method, what's good and what's bad about it, and there's some talk about how it can be improved. I've got improving in quotes here because I'm not sure if this is an improvement or not to include discounted cash flows, but we'll talk about that. We need to put it in the context of what we are also learning from MPV and IRR and what those two methods are signaling. And then we'll wrap up things by just laying out the overall advantages and disadvantages of this particular method. You ready to do this? Let's get into payback now. So this method has a signal. It's answering a fundamental question that's being asked across businesses everywhere and school playgrounds everywhere. And the question is this: hey man, when do I get my money back? You remember I started off our lessons on capital investment decision making by asking you for a loan, a $10 loan and then a $1,000 loan. You remember that? And I paused, and I think one of the very first questions that came into your head was this question: if I'm going to loan Monty some money, I want to know when the money is coming back. That's what this payback method is telling us here. Basically, what we're learning from this payback method is twofold. First, how much exposure is in this investment? How much exposure do I have to losing the investment? And the faster I can get the investment back tells me about the flexibility I have in this investment. The sooner my money's back, the sooner I have the ability to use that money someplace else. That's what I mean by flexibility. This is what the payback method does not tell me. It talks about risk, but it does not talk about what I might learn from other methods, including information about the earnings of this investment and information about the rate of return of this investment. NPV and IRR do that. And fundamentally, those kinds of issues are about the investment's performance. Payback method is fundamentally about the investment's risk. Make sense? We're going to talk a lot about risk in the lesson following this one, but this payback method is our first foray into this world of risk analysis in capital investment decision making. So let's talk about the calculation part of it now. This thing is effectively a measure of time. And the way you set it up is the investment's on top, the cash flow's on the bottom. You just divide these two. And what I get is a number. So assuming I've got $101,500,000 as the investment, and I've got an